Welcome back to another episode of Aspiring Creator. It is 5 p.m. I've got like 25, 30 minutes before I need to go home and see my kids. So let's catch up with another round of what's happened in this past week since last time we talked about podcasty things. So I have a list here. I'm going to run through it. It's basically all the stuff that happened since the last time we made a show, whatever we're calling this thing, about all the behind the scenes stuff of running a somewhat semi-successful YouTube channel, content creation business, Instagram, TikToks, YouTubes, all that kind of stuff. First thing on my list, we're going to go like reverse order. So first thing on my list is changing to our scripting process. So we used to do a, in terms of like our like schedule, I guess, script on Monday, shoot on Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday, and then like we post on Friday, like the following Friday. So that would give us like a good window to edit in. We've changed it now because it, I think, improves the process. So we now script, or I now script on a Thursday, or okay, let's go back a little bit further. So on Wednesday, we should be doing packaging, titles, and thumbnails. So when we come to scripting on the Thursday, we know how we're scripting. So then script on Thursday. If we're scripting a video that the brand needs to approve because it's like a dedicated video, or even like an integration or an ad spot, whatever it might be, that then means it's written on Thursday. The brand has Friday to look over it, and the weekend if they work the weekends, and like a bit on Monday. We then come in on Monday, we shoot all of the A-roll, or maybe we start shooting the B-roll, and the A-roll will be on Tuesday instead. But we basically get Monday and Tuesday to shoot the A-roll and B-roll. So that's 2 days clear to shoot the video, which means editing can generally start like on the Tuesday, maybe the Wednesday, like worst case, and then we get the initial draft done by Friday, which again then means we can send the brands over the weekends. The brand then has the weekend, and they have a few days at the beginning of the week before we then post that video at the end of the week. So it just maximizes the amount of time that we give the video to the brand to review things. And I feel like that will be a good way of working. We haven't been working that really long at all. We've had lots of holidays, and it's summertime here at the moment, and people being off and things. So we're going to start hitting that kind of process now, and then hopefully that's going to improve how we produce things. Next on the list was just we've yet again rearranged the studio once more. This shot still looks the same. This hasn't really changed, but the side of the room that's this side of the camera you can't see has like completely changed. So we had one of these. We had like a fake partition made, which was like two wooden structures with like the slatted wooden bits on the wall. You can kind of see it like there a little bit in this frame. So the little slatted wooden panels, we've stuck two together back to back, put legs on them, and then we can kind of move them around to exactly what we've done here, like move the studio space around and create different sets. We previously had like this open plan, like we had the kind of TV sofa set up, and then behind that we'd have a desk, and then it was all like completely open. The problem we kind of ran into yesterday was that we were trying to do two things at the same time, shoot thumbnails and also shoot A-roll. Whereas we had an idea of actually, if we put the partition down the middle of the studio and essentially create like a fake wall behind the sofa, now I can shoot onto the back of the sofa into the new wall that's now there. And that could be the A-roll sat at a desk kind of set. It can also be the top-down set. And, my Pokemon channel I've got with my son as well, that can all kind of run from there. And then we've got the TV kind of area to go onto the other side of the wall, which we can use for thumbnails and photos, and obviously use it as the TV set when we do TV reviews. The only problem we've run into, yes, again, is we don't have the right kind of lighting or the right number of lighting, or we had like lights that now, which did reach across the studio, which now don't because there's a wall in the middle. So we've ordered, we haven't bought any more lights this time. We've bought more modifiers. So I bought like another spotlight that can do those like fake sunset patterns onto the back wall kind of thing. So one of those should be turning up tomorrow. We did actually buy a new light, thinking about that because it's right in front of me. We bought the Amaran Verge Max, like the circular, really thin LED panel, which we were mostly going to use as a top-down for our thumbnails, just because it's big, it's really slim, it's really light, and very, very easy to work with. So we ordered that one. I'm waiting for another stand to turn up because it didn't come with the right stand we needed. But it's once again, it's the perfect idea we have here is that the lights just stay exactly where they are. They never get moved, and we just have presets we keep recalling, which, if it worked like that, would be great. But like just tomorrow, something will happen. Be like, oh, let's just rearrange the whole room again to make it all work again. And then all the lights we spent, time meticulously setting up and getting the right brightness and color temperatures, just it all changes anyway. But we can still have fun. We can still try, and it still lets us try out lots of different things. Matt actually spent like far too long a day doing a thumbnail earlier this week. And we had all the lights got moved around for that one, and all like LED colors and RGB and all that kind of stuff. And whilst it didn't create a successful thumbnail, it's well worth doing still. Like just by doing that, you're like learning a lot. And I think that was actually going off the back of another thumbnail which we were kind of trying to replicate, which was an AI thumbnail. We created a thumbnail using AI and went, that looks kind of cool, but we want to do it like ourselves with like real stuff. So it was a fun exercise to go through, because you can like, again, maybe that's a good use of AI. You use AI to generate a thumbnail that looks good, but you then go and put like the real product in the center of the image, and like a real thing that's on the screen with real gameplay footage rather than a fake AI generated gameplay, whatever it might be. But again, it's like a fun way to learn, because then you learn where the lights need to be to get the right color on the right side and the right shadows and all that kind of stuff. And you could even then ask AI to say like, what lights do I need? Or here are the lights that I have. Light this scene for me and tell me how I like where the lights should be in the brightness and all that kind of stuff. That might be quite an interesting use for it as well. So there is that. Next is like a bugbear of mine, I guess, for products this year. I don't know about you or me, but love for you to tell me more in the comments down below, or DM me or whatever it is. We've seen so many more products this year that are like we're beta testing them, and these are like products from big brands that have come through where just like stuff doesn't really work as advertised, or we're given a list of like, before you even switch it on, you need to apply this firmware update because it's an essential one. Otherwise, it just doesn't work outright. But we have had multiple products sent to us where they've been pretty bad, to the point where like we a lot of the time we accept our brand deals with big brands because you're like, well, it's a big brand, it's going to be a good product. Of course, we'll do that. So yeah, of course we'll do it. But then we're getting it, switching it on, and like connecting our stuff in, and testing stuff out, and going like, this really like. You really shouldn't buy this because it really doesn't work that well. And in like the most recent situation we've got here, which is one of the other things on my list here, is that we are doing a dedicated video. So we started like we made the video, sent them the video for approval, even though we raised quite a few like issues with the product. And they're like, oh yeah, but the thing is, the differences between the pre-production model that you received and the production model that we're going to sell is this. And it's like, and coincidentally, that then answered / fixed some of, at least, the issues we'd raised. But I'm just kind of sat here thinking like, did that legitimately get fixed ahead of time? Or have you just said that because we've discovered some problems and now you're like retrospectively fixing it in the production model, which hasn't been announced yet or hasn't been launched yet? And then it's just like, and we're then expected to like change our video. And so we've done that, here and there. Obviously, you work with brands to make sure it's a accurate representation of the product that the consumer's going to buy, because that's the important thing, making sure you're giving the right consumer advice. And that particular video I still feel is like an accurate representation, because we do highlight some concerns that I have with that monitor as well. And I didn't say a monitor, but it's a monitor. And so like, you're going through the process, but you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. And when the final product gets launched, you don't know, how is that going to differ? Like, are they going to like try and fix all of the problems with the thing before you can then post your video, at which point your video is now like out of date? And this particular brand, it went from like, you must post the video within like as soon as you receive it. And then like, it was like within 30 days of receiving the product. And now it's like, oh, sorry, we need a bit more time. Can we push it back to like next month? Can it be like August? Can it be September? Like, can it be like later on? And it's just like, come on, like we rushed around. We like moved our schedule around to make this in time because you were like trying to get us to do it as soon as possible. We found some problems and now you're like delaying it, which I can understand as a brand because you obviously want to fix the problems, but don't like, don't sugarcoat it as like, but there are problems with your video. It's like, no, okay, thank you very much for, highlighting there are problems. We'd like to get these fixed before we go to production. So like, let's work on those and fix it. Thank you for your video. You can post it, maybe do some like annotations on the video to say like we've spoken to the brand and they've agreed that this will be fixed in the production model. Like there are ways of dealing with it. And it just like just the way the communication's been with this particular one. It's a very, 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 very low value sponsorship. It is a sponsored video, but at very low value. And for like the amount of faff back and forth and like issues with the product and like all this, like, and again, going back to like, feels like we're beta testing it for them and addressing problems. And it's like, for me as the creator, it just means I don't have as much trust in the brand. And I feel like really cynical against this particular product now because I don't know how it's going to play off. It might be fine. Like, I don't know, again, I'm just like calling it how I see it and how it feels at the time. And just the communication just feels a bit off. But maybe that's just how I'm reading it. And it's, not reading the room properly. But I just found it interesting. This, one of these frustrating things that in this industry and in this line of work, this is the thing we're running into. And especially, as I say, this particular year where maybe just brands are just rushing things out faster. Like, we've never received the number of products we have this year where things just haven't worked out of the box and it's needed a firmware update, or we've pointed something out and they've tested it, or like, we've sent over our video draft and identified there's been issues with certain, like with monitors or TVs, whatever it is. Example, like, I don't know, like plugging a Mac in, it doesn't get quite the refresh rate or quite the resolution they're expecting. And like, rather than it just being like, oh, this is what it is, so like this is going to be our video. Oh, can you actually like provide some more information and we'll take it back to our like team because the team says it shouldn't do that, and we want to make sure that like we need to like figure that thing out first. And it's like, well, shouldn't this whole bit have been figured out before we as reviewers get it? Because like we're reviewing the thing that you sent us and making the video, and like, it's just a bit frustrating. That said, okay, Amazon Prime Day is happening, or Amazon Prime Week. This is the week for Amazon Prime Week. And we made a bit of a boo-boo with our video because our approach this year was we're trying to find like an angle where the video will outlive Prime Day, because of course, like Prime Day videos will do really well with Prime Day, and then as soon as Prime Day's over, why would you watch one? Because Prime Day's over, pointless. So we went for a packaging. I think it was like the most surprisingly affordable tech for 2026, something like with that angle. With all the products in there had discounts. Some of them were Prime discounts, some of them were like other discounts. Also, some of them we just knew are products that come up for discount whenever like promotional periods like appear. And there was of course like a sponsor in there as well. So we made that video. We packaged it like the most surprising tech. I think the biggest problem that is one of those obvious things where you're like, well, oh, duh, obviously. One of the first products in the video was the iPhone Air, and like calling an iPhone Air, surprisingly affordable is maybe the issue at all. But we did think about that to start with and went, well, like, yeah, but maybe it'd be something like some good comment, not good comments, but like good engagement in the comments, because people could be like, oh, the iPhone's not affordable and those kind of things. But we got some initial feedback, fast feedback with like, that's just a bad opener. My reason was that the iPhone Air on Amazon here in the UK exclusively, I think, was discounted a month or two ago by like £200 or £300. So like it brings it down to the same price as an iPhone. So like I would then say that was surprisingly maybe not affordable, but like that was surprising to see the iPhone Air drop in price. But so the video did okay to begin with. It then like leveled out very, very quickly. And we then renamed it to like the best tech for 2026, must watch before Prime Day, that kind of like time limited must watch like thing. And it did something. The video picked up again, the views picked up, and it's gone up consistently. What we're going to now be looking out for is, it is Amazon Prime Week right now, so the views are still steadily climbing. It's now like, rather than being a 10 out of 10, it's like a 4 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10 or something. It's gone back in line with our other videos. But obviously Prime Day will come to an end, and then it's going to like tail off. So maybe we can find a different angle for the packaging, because we did initially write the video, with that kind of angle of like, this isn't just a Prime Day video. This is like good tech that I've used and stuck with, and like I would recommend. So yeah, there's definitely some packaging options there, I believe. And then I guess let's finish up on that one. So it's just as a good fortune, I guess. Like this is probably one of, if not the biggest months we've had yet, which is just mainly because there's a combination of a few things going on here. We've had some like late payments come in, which should have landed in like the previous 1, maybe 2 months. We like we technically made a loss because we were, costs were higher than our, what was it? Costs than higher were our income. So, it made a loss. But we've had like a really, really good month because we had late payments coming in. We've also had some good like dedicated videos come through from brands paying good rates. Some of those have been like, I think one of them we did like an upfront payment as a deposit, and then like another one when we post the last video. So there's just some good stuff that's come through. Obviously, like Prime Day was a good one as well, because that was like our agency did a good job at like filling slots on that one as well. So it's been, and we've had some short form like dedicated sponsor content come through as well. It's just been a good month. Brands, at least that we've been starting to work with, seem to have money to spend on this stuff. However, then coincidentally, we were speaking with like, monitors. We do a lot of monitor content. We started speaking with another monitor brand, big name. We're like, oh, cool, like another monitor brand. We can, let's just quote them our standard pricing and, see where it goes. And just, they basically came back with like, oh, all we can really afford is like, all we really feel is like acceptable for you is like £2,000 or for a dedicated video. But this is a brand we worked with, I don't know, a year ago, 6-8 months ago, something like that. We did some short form content for them, and it was like, I don't know, 10 or 15 grand for like 2 or 3 shorts. So I'm like, oh, hang on, how can we do like 2 or 3 shorts for like 10 or 15 grand? And then like you think a dedicated long form is like 2, like the math ain't mathing as far as I'm concerned. When we know that we're pulling decent rates, like, what was it? 5 figures plus for, a dedicated long form video on like big things like, we're doing TVs and monitors, especially for us. Is like where our like niche very much is at the moment. We're still doing more phone content. We've got some stuff lined up for phones because we've got the iPhone launch coming out. We've got the Samsung, probably they'll do their flips and folds soon. It's Pixel season soon as well. So there's some good stuff coming up around phone launches. But at least we've noticed that, like for us at least, the monitor, like screen content in general performs. So monitors and TVs and those kind of things. And as I talked about, I did the TCL TV ads on the last episode of this show, which I spoke about. So go and listen or watch that one if you haven't listened to that one already. But yeah, it's been a really, really good month. We had a lot of payments come in, a lot of deposits for like the future stuff as well. And this is like where, I'm sure I've said it before, like I would much rather have 1 to 2 like well paid at our like standard rate dedicated videos that's a good fit for the channel. If it's like a TV or monitor or that kind of thing, then it's a good fit for the channel. Even like desk setups and stuff are like good setup, good dedicated or sponsored things for our channel, because we can do monitors on those desks and things. Obviously we did a Secret Lab one recently, so this chair launched, and then the obviously the desk was part of that, and a shelf and a monitor arm, and like all sorts of bits came off the back of that one as well. So that was a good one. But I'd much rather have that than have like just the constant chasing for like, oh, we've got these slots coming up, like would you be interested in sponsoring, and then like negotiating pricing. And obviously that's why we have an agency, and that's what the agency does a lot of. We just find like we've got a lot of relationships with brands already, and it still feels like that it's still better in our best interest if we try and stay on top of it too, to try and get ahead of things, because we are very much like, we've got our video schedule booked out, and not booked out, sorry, but we have our video schedule planned through to the end of the year. So in many of the brands that we're working with, we're already emailing them saying like, hey, well, anything for Q3, anything for Q4, Black Friday. There is, what's it called, IFA in Berlin, IFA, which is like another kind of tech trade show thing. So trying to reach out to brands ahead of time again, seeing if they're there and if they want any video shot whilst we were at IFA with them. So yeah, there's loads of stuff coming up. We just feel like it's just good to try and get ahead. And like ideally for us, we just want to nail that like one good video every single week, and then we can focus as a team. It's like everything runs on schedule. We've got one video to script, one video to shoot, one video to edit, and just like we just go around in a motion, just to improve and reiterate on that every single time. So yeah, I will leave it there. Again, if you have, I don't think I've actually looked recently, to be honest. I should probably look at the channel. It's just one of these things where it's like you're so busy doing all of the things. But if you do have any questions, DM me, message me, leave a comment down below on this video, and I will do my best to answer it. I'm pretty much an open book where all that stuff comes from. And I will see you in the next show of Aspiring Creator. Cheers. Thanks so much. Speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.